In this video, we are going to take a deep and practical dive into Vim 9.2 on Linux, exploring what it is, why it still matters in 2026, how it has evolved, and how you can use it efficiently for real-world development and system administration. Whether you are brand new to Vim or you have been using it casually for years, this walkthrough will help you understand not just the commands, but the philosophy behind Vim and the powerful features introduced and refined up through version 9.2. Let's begin with the basics. Vim stands for Vi Improved. It is an advanced text editor that originated as an improvement over the classic Unix editor Vi. On Linux systems, Vim is often pre-installed or is only available through the system's package manager. You can typically check your installed version by opening a terminal and typing Vim version. If you see version 9.2, you are running one of the more recent stable releases in the VM9 series, which includes improvements to performance, scripting, pop-up handling, and overall usability. What makes Vim fundamentally different from many other text editors is its modal design. Instead of typing directly into the document at all times, Vim uses different modes. When you first open a file in Vim by typing vimfilename.txt, you enter normal mode. In this mode, keys do not insert text. Instead, they execute commands. For example, pressing H, J, K, and L moves the cursor left, down, up, and right. This might feel strange at first, but the modal system is what enables Vim's incredible speed and precision once you internalize it. To insert text, you switch to insert mode. You can press I to insert before the cursor, A to append after the cursor, O to open a new line below, or O to open a new line above. Once in insert mode, you type just like in any other editor. To return to normal mode, you press the escape key. This simple pattern of switching between normal mode and insert mode is a foundation of efficient editing in Vim. Vim 9.2 continues to support the classic modes, but it also improves internal performance and scripting capabilities. Before diving into the advanced features of Vim 9, let's understand some essential commands that every Linux user should know. To save a file, you type W and press enter. To quit, you type :Q. To save and quit, you type :WQ or simply X. If you want to quit without saving changes, you type Q, which forces the exit. Navigation in Vim is extremely powerful, beyond basic movement with H, J, K, and L. You can move by words using W to jump to the beginning of the next word, B to go back to the beginning of the previous word, and E to jump to the end of a word. You can move to the beginning of a line with 0 and to the end of a line with $. To jump to a specific line number, you type a number followed by G, for example, 42G. To go to line 42, typing GG moves to the first line of the file, and G alone moves to the last line. Searching is another area where Vim shines. In normal mode, you can type followed by a search pattern and press enter to search forward. For example, per main will search for the word main. Press N to jump to the next match and N to jump to the previous match. To search backward, you use, instead of Vim's search supports regular expressions, which makes it extremely powerful for navigating large code bases on Linux servers. Editing text in Vim is efficient because commands can be combined with counts and motions. For example, if you type 5dd, Vim deletes 5 lines starting from the current one. If you type $, it deletes from the cursor to the end of the line. If you type CWIV, it changes the current word, meaning it deletes the word and switches to insert mode so you can type a replacement. This compatibility is one of the core philosophies of Vim operators combined with motions produce powerful editing commands. Now let's talk about visual mode. Press V in normal mode to enter visual mode, where you can select text by moving the cursor. Press V2, select entire lines, or CTRL-V to enter visual block mode, which allows column-based selections. Once text is selected, you can delete it with D, copy it with Y for yank, or change it with C. This is extremely useful in Linux environments, when editing configuration files, source code, or structured text like logs. Copying and pasting in Vim is known as yanking and putting. In normal mode, you can type Y to yank the current line, then press P to paste it after the cursor or P to paste it before. You can also combine Y with motions, such as Y to yank a word. Vim uses registers to store yank text. and you can access specific registers using double quotes followed by a registered name. For example, AY stores a line in register A. This allows advanced workflows when manipulating multiple pieces of text. Let's shift our focus to configuration. On Linux, Vim reads configuration from a file called .vmrc located in your home directory. This file allows you to customize Vim's behavior. For example, you can enable line numbers with set numbers. You can enable syntax highlighting with syntax on. You can set tab behavior with set tab stop equals 4 and set shift width equals 4. Vim 9.2 fully supports traditional Vim script configuration, but it also introduces and encourages the use of Vim 9 script, a more modern scripting language built into Vim. One of the major developments in the Vim 9 series is Vim 9 script. It is designed to be faster and more structured than legacy Vim. It introduces clearer syntax, better scoping, and improved performance. For example, in Vim 9 script, functions are defined with def instead of function, and variables are declared with v. The language is more consistent and closer to modern programming languages in terms of structure and readability. In Vim 9.2, Vim 9 script performance has been optimized further, making plugins and custom functions run faster. Performance improvements in Vim 9.2 are especially noticeable when working with large files or complex plugins. Vim uses a highly optimized core written in C, and the improvements in the 9x series refine execution speed, especially for scripted operations. For Linux users who rely on Vim for editing logs, source code, or configuration files in production environments, these performance improvements contribute to a smoother experience. Another important feature in modern Vim versions, including 9.2, is support for pop-up windows and floating windows in terminal environments. Vim can display floating menus, tooltips, and dialogues within the terminal interface. These are used by plugins to provide auto-completion, linting messages, and interactive prompts. Even without a graphical interface, Vim can offer a rich user interface experience directly in a Linux terminal. Speaking of plugins, Vim has a vast ecosystem. On Linux, you can manage plugins manually by placing them in the /.vim pack directory, or by using plugin managers such as Vim Plug or Pathogen. With Vim 9.2, plugin compatibility remains strong, and many plugins are being updated to take advantage of Vim 9 script for improved speed. Popular plugin categories include file explorers, fuzzy finders, Git integration, language servers, and syntax enhancements. File navigation is another area where Vim you can open multiple files using buffers. When you open a file in Vim, it is loaded into a buffer. You can list buffers with ls and switch between them using b followed by a buffer number. You can also use b for next buffer and cal and bp for previous buffer. This allows efficient multitasking within a single Vim session. In addition to buffers, Vim supports windows and tabs. A window is a viewport into a buffer. You can split the screen horizontally with split or vertically with V. You can move between splits using CTRLW followed by H, J, K, or L. Tabs allow you to group windows. You can create a new tab with tab new and switch between tabs with GT and GT. This layered approach to buffers, windows, and tabs provides powerful organization for complex projects. On Linux systems, Vim integrates well with the shell. You can run shell commands directly from Vim by typing followed by a command. For example, ls list directory contents. You can even filter text through external commands. For instance, you can visually select lines and type sort to sort them. This deep integration with Unix utilities is one reason Vim remains popular among Linux users. Autocompletion in Vim 9.2 can be triggered with ctrln in insert mode to complete words from the current buffer. For more advanced completion, you can configure OmniFunc or use language server protocol clients through plugins. Vim's built-in support for asynchronous jobs and channels enables communication with external tools, allowing features like linting, formatting, and real-time diagnostics without blocking the editor. Syntax highlighting in Vim is robust and supports hundreds of file types. Vim automatically detects file types based on file extensions or content. You can manually set a file type using setFileType equals Python, for example. Once a file type is detected, syntax highlighting rules are applied. In Vim 9.2, syntax performance has been fine-tuned to handle larger files more efficiently. Undo and redo in Vim are more advanced than in many editors. Vim maintains an undo tree, allowing you to navigate through different branches of editing history. You undo with redo with CTR. If you enable persistent undo by adding setundo file to your .vmrc, Vim stores undo history on disk, so you can close a file and later reopen it with full undo history intact. This is extremely valuable for long-running projects on Linux systems. Another powerful concept in Vim is macros. You can record a macro by pressing Q followed by a register letter, for example, then perform a series of commands, and press Q again to stop recording. You can replay the macro with ETA. This allows you to automate repetitive editing tasks quickly. Combined with counts, you can apply a macro multiple times, such as 10 ETA. Vim also supports marks. You can set a mark with M followed by a letter such as ma. Then you can jump back to that mark using a marks can be local to a file or global across files. This is useful for navigating large code bases or configuration directories on Linux servers. In Vim 9.2, terminal support is mature. You can open an embedded terminal inside Vim using terminal. This creates a terminal buffer where you can run shell commands interactively. You can switch between terminal mode and normal mode, allowing you to manage development tasks without leaving Vim. This feature bridges the gap between editing and command execution in Linux work. Security and stability remain core principles in Vim's development. Vim 9.2 includes patches and fixes that address edge cases, improve memory handling, and ensure compatibility with modern Linux distributions. The project continues to maintain backward compatibility while modernizing the scripting layer. For developers, Vim's integration with version control systems like Git is often enhanced through plugins. But even without plugins, you can use Vim's diff mode. Run in vimd, file 1, file 2, opens both files in diff mode, highlighting differences. You can navigate between changes using C and C, and merge changes with commands like du and dp. Customization in Vim can go very deep. You can define custom key mappings using the map command or its more specific forms like normap4. Normal-moji non-recursive mappings. For example, normap leader wwcr greater than maps a key combination to save the file. The leader key is often set to comma or space in the .vimrc. Vim 9.2 continues to support all traditional mapping features while benefiting from faster script execution. Color schemes are another aspect of customization. Vim supports both terminal and GUI color schemes. On Linux terminals with true color support, you can enable term jigglers to use 24-bit color schemes. This enhances readability and aesthetics, especially for long coding sessions. When working remotely over SSH, Vim is often the editor of choice because it runs entirely in the terminal and requires no graphical interface. Vim 9.2 performs well even in minimal environments, making it ideal for server administration, DevOps tasks, and cloud infrastructure management. One of the reasons Vim remains relevant is muscle memory and efficiency. The modal editing paradigm reduces reliance on modifier keys and mouse interactions. Over time, users develop speed and precision that can surpass traditional editors. Vim 9.2 preserves this philosophy while modernizing performance and scripting. In conclusion, Vim 9.2 on Linux represents the evolution of a classic tool into a modern, high-performance text editor. It combines decades of stability with new scripting capabilities, improved performance, pop-up interfaces, terminal integration, and plugin flexibility by mastering modes, motions, operators, and customization. You can transform Vim from a simple text editor into a powerful development environment entirely within your Linux terminal. Whether you're editing configuration files, writing code, managing servers, or developing software, Vim 9.2 provides the tools and flexibility to adapt to your workflow and grow with your expertise.